Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy 4th. Let's all stand and let's sing, I'm heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. Yes. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking along in the spirit right now. Sing, I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing love. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love. I'm choosing love today. I am walking along in the spirit right now. Sing, I'm choosing love today. Choosing peace. I'm choosing peace today. I'm choosing peace. I'm choosing peace today. I am walking along in the spirit right now. Saying I'm choosing, oh, how about compassion? I choose compassion today. I choose compassion. I choose compassion today. I am walking along in the spirit right now. Saying I choose compassion today. I choose heaven. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking up in the spirit right now. Saying I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking along in the spirit right now. Saying I'm choosing heaven today. Oh, yeah. Woo.
Good morning, everyone. It's so wonderful to see all your beautiful faces out there on this wonderful summer day. So we welcome you. I'm Reverend Bonnie Anderson. I'm the presider today. And I want to welcome everyone to CSL Rogue Valley in conjunction with Unity, and we welcome you all to this beautiful Sunday morning. Reverend Kimberly, she wrote this, I want to tell you, is taking a well-deserved break today. But no, she is. Reverend Kimberly works very hard, and she's with her family. She posted some pictures on Facebook of them on the water slides with her grandkids, and she just looks so rested and happy, so we send her love on this morning. So we are a progressive spiritual community that welcomes all faiths. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. We are delighted that you came and gave us your time this Sunday morning and joined us. If you're here for the first time, would you raise your hand just so we know who you are? Great. We're not going to do anything strange to you. We're just going to invite you to stay in Bosworth Hall after the service, and we'd love to get to know you better. So thank you for being here. All right, so the musician this morning is my wonderful husband, Reverend Andy Anderson. Yay. And Reverend Kim Bebo gave a beautiful treatment or meditation this morning, and she is holding the high watch, which just means she's holding the highest and best, holding the container for us to have a wonderful service this morning. And this is the first service in this is the first Sunday in July, and it's birthday Sunday. So if you have a July birthday, please stand up. All right.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. We sure do love you.
Isn't it wonderful that we get to spend this 4th of July weekend together celebrating freedom? Freedom is a quality of God, and we celebrate it, and it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful day. So please turn off your cell phones if you haven't done that, or put it in airplane mode. And Andy's going to play some beautiful music to prepare us for our invocation, which he is going to give, Reverend Andy. And you don't need to applaud after his song, so we can just go directly into prayer.
Looking at the sun, stars, the moon, the sky. So good to know that I'm alive. My eyes are open wide. Everything that you feel, know that it's real. Just take it in and feel the love, the peace, the joy. So good that I know it's just another blessed day. It's just another blessed day. I look all around me, all that I see is life itself looking back at me, smiling. How do you do? It's saying to me, how do you do? Everything that I say, that I do is leading me to what is true for me and for you. So glad I know it's just another blessed day. No matter what comes and goes, life is like the river that always flows. It's breathing in, breathing out. I'm one with the one and it's alright. It's only waiting for you. So come on and dive into your truth. Oh, nothing's holding you. Today's a new you, a brand new you. Oh, today is a blessed day, perfect time and space to love myself and let go of everything else. I choose to see the best in myself, the best in everyone else. Oh, there's nothing else I need to do. Just let His love come shining through. So good that I know it's just another blessed day. It's just another blessed day. It's just another blessed day. Ooh. So again, good morning, everyone. As you know, I'm Reverend Andy Anderson, and so I'm here this morning to do our opening invocation, our prayer treatment this morning. So feel free to take this as your own. I will speak this in first person, but just know that what I say, take these words as you own. Okay? And if you feel so inclined, you can close your eyes, or if not, it's okay. It's okay. But here's what I know. Here's what I know. There's one life. That life is forever expressing itself through every living thing on the planet. There's one life, one love, one joy, one peace. So we're here this morning and standing and sitting on holy and sacred ground to express this Spirit flowing through and as us this morning. But there's only one thing here, and that's us. And Spirit is flowing through us this morning. So from that place in consciousness, I can speak my word this morning. Life is so good. God is good all the time. I can speak my word this morning, knowing that this service is already perfect. It's already done in the mind of God. Spirit has something to say this morning. Reverend Stephanie, the Spirit's just going to just speak and flow through her. And our job is to be an open vessel, be an open sponge. I give thanks this morning for the whole entire crew this morning that made this service possible. Give thanks for the music. Music's all right. Yeah. I am so grateful that we are here today to celebrate this special day. This day is special because we are here. So for this, I release into the law of mind, knowing that it is already done in the mind of God. Our job is to say yes. So with me, as I release it to the law of mind, say with me, and so it is. So it is. So it is.
I have a reading this morning that I found from a talk given at Wiltern Theater Sunday morning, July 4th, 1937, by Ernest Holmes. True freedom, true liberty, has something cosmic behind it. I believe that the true spirit of democracy is a spiritual conception where there is freedom, liberty without license, and a flexibility that makes evolution possible on the foundation of freedom. As we enter into the spirit and the meaning of Independence Day, the day when liberty symbolically was conceived, the day when freedom objectively in our country was announced, we should think of it not merely as a political system or a form of government, but we should think of it as a spiritual conception, an idea in the divine mind itself, taking form in human experience. We should learn to love that liberty, and in loving the idea, we should learn to tenderly and prayerfully handle the embodiment of that idea and nourish it always to greater strength. We should really conceive again the great spiritual conception of that rugged man of God who said that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth. And now we have a song that I think you're going to like from Reverend Andy.
Don't let this life pass you by. Stand tall and let your truth, let it shine. You're in charge of your destiny. It's only love that can set you free. Love is the only thing. Look straight ahead, no matter what life may bring. Let's not divide by class or race. Don't buy into the hate generate. It's only love that will let us see. Oh, it's only love little fella man. No matter the color, I know we can. We're all a part of the human race, so let's not forget, please don't hesitate. Can we respect and love one another, even though we don't agree with each other? We are one people living on one planet. Can we love all together? Oh, so can we love and let love see? Oh, it's only love that will set the world free. Don't wait for the by and by, thinking it will come from somewhere in the sky. It's only up to you and I, so let's live it from the inside out. Can we respect and love one another? Gay or straight, let's love each other. We are one people living on one planet. Can we live all together? Oh, so can we love and let love see? Oh, it's only love that will let the world be. Set the world free. Only love will set the world free.
Thank you, Reverend Andy. That was amazing. And now you have a special treat in store for you, because Reverend Stephanie Clark is going to speak to you this morning with her own beauty and energy and vitality and unique ideas. You're in for a real treat. And just to let you know, she is a published author. She has 2 of her books for sale afterward in Bosworth Hall, so you can pick up a copy of one or both of them afterwards. So please help me welcoming the wonderful, the beautiful, the talented Reverend Steph.
Thank you, Bonnie. That was a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. So it's interesting, today's July 4th weekend, and Reverend Kimberly asked me to speak today. And she forgot that I'm a Brit. I was born in Britain. The dramatic irony didn't go past me. And I told her I might start a rebellion. Are you interested? I know you like to rebel, you people, you American people. So the British Embassy sent a note of congratulations from the British Embassy in Washington, D.C. Wished the U.S. a happy 4th of July, while doing its best to note the awkwardness inherent in doing so. And when I told my chiropractor that I was going to be talking today on the 4th of July weekend, and that I'm a Brit, I'm talking to Americans, he said, you know, when we had the Boston Tea Party, the British people are only charging us 2% tax. So look at the situation now. How is it for you? Maybe you should have stayed with us. What do you think? And a lot more tax these days. So today we're talking about freedom and independence, but as an inside job. And I loved the reading, Reverend Bonnie. It was beautiful and perfect for the talk. Thank you. It's an inside job. And this is a quote from Albert Camus, the French author. He said, "The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion." How's that? Your very existence is an act of rebellion because you're knowing the truth. You're knowing your spiritual freedom first and foremost. So today I want you to join with me in an intention to get free. And if we have a rebellion along the way, that's all right with me. Is that all right with you? Good, okay. All right. So on our spiritual journey, we're always moving from dark to light, from sleeping to waking, and in this case, from enslavement to freedom. And our enslavement is the fact that you and I, in the human condition, live in a state of being hypnotized, meaning that we inherit our race-conscious mind or the collective conscious mind. We inherit all the beliefs of our culture, all the beliefs of all the world since the very beginning. We've inherited our family beliefs, our cultural beliefs, the religious beliefs that we were born into, and then you and I made all kinds of personal decisions as we were growing up, many of them in the womb or shortly after we came out of the womb, such as, "I'll never be loved," "They don't hear me," "I can't get what I need." So these beliefs are the things that run us and govern us. And for those of you who've been in New Thought for a while, I'm not sure where our visitors are with this, but very briefly, we believe that our thoughts create our experience. So our predominant thoughts, not every thought, but our predominant thoughts and belief create what we experience. So if you and I believe, "I'll never be loved," guess what? People can be loving us like crazy, they can be loving us passionately, but that belief of "I'll never be loved" is what's going to be the reality of our experience. It's not the truth, but it's our experience. So and the thing with freedom is that you and I can't experience that freedom if we're unconscious. So if we're hypnotized by all these beliefs, freedom will not be part of our experience. It'll be elusive to us. So the first step in getting free is to become aware. So you and I can't get free until we're aware. There's no choice until we're conscious. And how are we going to get aware of our freedoms? How are we going to be aware of our hypnotism? So I've had some ideas just to share with you about how you can tell if you're living in a hypnotic state or not. So if you're in a hypnotic state, it's usually very familiar and very comfortable, and that's why it's hard to see it, because it's the way things are for you. And most of us in our hypnotic state, we want to be comfortable, and we're living with a sense of needing to be safe and needing to be comfortable against all of the threats that we believe we see out there. So our animal nature is designed that way. When we were living in caves, living in the wild, we had to run from wild animals. We had to survive, and anything could be a threat to our survival. So that old prehistoric consciousness is still with us today. Except we're not running from wild animals anymore, except if you live in Africa in the bush, which I don't and you don't, so that's okay. So if we're not running from wild animals, but we're running from things that make us scared. So what might that be? Deadlines. I run from deadlines. I'm terrified about deadlines. We run from doctor's appointments. We don't want to see the doctor. We don't want to hear the news. We run from all kinds of things that present an imagined threat. So if you have the belief, I'm not enough, it's not enough, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time, that's hypnotism. If you have the belief, I'm too old, or I'm too big, or I'm too educated, all of those, I'm too much or I'm not enough, all of that stuff is hypnotism. What else? Cravings and addiction, that's part of hypnotism too. Trying to get yourself filled up with an outside substance or a behavior. So really, hypnotism, you can tell you're hypnotized if you're trying to get something outside of yourself, trying to get love, trying to get promotion, trying to get a new car, trying to get people to acknowledge you, trying to get something, or you're trying to keep something just the way it is because it's pretty nice just the way it is. So you're trying to keep your good looks, trying not to age, trying to keep things just the same as they are. Or you're trying to stop something or someone from leaving. So you're hoping that your beloved parent will not die. Of course, they're going to die. You're hoping that your lover, your husband, your wife will not leave. They might leave. You're hoping that something that you have that's giving you comfort and making you feel safe is not going to go away, and you try to hang on to it. And the more you try to hang on to something, have you noticed? The more elusive it becomes. The more you chase after something, the more elusive it becomes. There is no freedom, there is no peace when you're trying to get the outer world to match your specifications and to match your inner belief about how things should be. So imagine the settlers as they were coming over from Britain to America. They had the spirit of freedom. They wanted to come here because they wanted to worship in their own way. That's correct, right? That's what we learn in the history books, that they wanted freedom of religion. So the spirit of freedom was inborn in them, as it is in everybody. And they were coming across from Britain, where what they were taught, as I was taught, I grew up in Britain, and I inherited all that collective consciousness from the British culture. I was taught that the king or the queen is on top in the culture, and there's a hierarchy, a very clear hierarchy, and you have to obey the person on top. Americans don't have that consciousness at all. Americans are very confident, in my perception, very confident, pioneering spirit. You don't have to obey anybody. If you have an idea and you want to follow up on that idea, you go for it, and you know that the universe will support you. It's a beautiful consciousness. It's really the spirit of freedom enacted that I observe here in America. But in Britain, it's not that way. We're obedient. We don't break the law. We do what we're told to do. And in Britain, in the 18th century, we had something called the clink, and it was the clink meaning the sound of the prison door locking behind you. If you're a debtor, if you get into debt, you go into prison. You went into prison in England. So people didn't want to get into debt. They paid their taxes. They were obedient. So the settlers are coming over. It's a very arduous voyage. Many of them didn't even make it on the ship. And when they got here, they were doing their best to survive, and really running from wild animals and doing all those things that we have to do when we're in a new land and we don't have the protective shelters fully built and erected. And then, and meanwhile, they're still being in the old consciousness of being obedient to the king and paying the taxes as they were levied. But because the spirit of freedom is so strong in all of us, and because the spirit of freedom will not be denied, eventually that spirit of freedom started to gather strength. And what emerged from that was the Declaration of Independence. We will not be beholden to the British king. We will not be obedient to a king that doesn't seem to be interested in serving the people. So the king who seems to be more interested in taking than giving anything back in return. So that's a good example for us of living in the humanhood, living in the sense of being culturally bound by all the beliefs of our particular ethnicity or our cultural heritage, and at the same time the spirit of freedom will not be denied. That's true about all of us all the time. So the next thing to know, so once you've woken up to the fact that you're probably hypnotized, and we all are, and I know that I am too. It's not the truth of my being, but I'm in the human condition. We all are, so we're all hypnotized at some level. What do you do once you become aware? Oh, okay, I'm believing that this person that I'm married to is my enemy. Is that the truth of being? Or is it hypnotism? It's hypnotism. So what do I have to do? I have to remember that all there is oneness, one power. That's it, one power. And hypnotism is based on a sense of separation, which means if I'm separate from you, separate from others, I don't know if you're my enemy or not. I don't know if I can trust you or not. If I feel separate from you, then I have to defend against you, or I have to attack you. I have to do something that's going to eliminate you so that I can feel safe and okay. So the one power, the one presence changes all of that. And to get in touch with the one power, you and I cannot walk around in our regular waking consciousness and expect to get in touch with one power. We have to turn within. We have to turn within, where the one power can be accessed. So we turn within through meditation. We turn within through visioning. For those of you who haven't heard of visioning, it's a meditative technique to get in touch with who you are as a spiritual being. And We can also turn to a practitioner. So if you and I cannot get in touch with the fact that there's only one power, then we can turn to a practitioner, and we have a number of them here in this community who can help you attain to that consciousness. And I want to read a story about the spiritual teacher Ram Dass. Have you heard of, put your hand up if you've heard of Ram? Oh yeah, nearly everybody here, fantastic, yeah. So Ram Dass, wonderful spiritual leader, he wrote a book called The Journey of Awakening, which is actually one of the texts that's set in our Science of Mind courses. And he said, in 1967, I spent many months in my guru's temple in India. I recall receiving a letter from Allen Ginsberg describing the Chicago Convention and the revolutionary protest of many people whom I knew. For a moment, I felt as if I were escaping from the world by sitting in this temple in India, leading a simple, quiet life. I thought I was copping out. It was as though I were at a rest camp far from the action, and my friends were out on the front lines, truly helping mankind find a better world. At the time, I was studying the Bhagavad Gita, which is the story of Krishna's injunction to Arjuna to fight in a battle. As I reflected more deeply, the Bhagavad Gita helped me realize that it's often easier to fight an external enemy than to confront one's own inner demons. I'm going to read that again. It's often easier to fight an external enemy than to confront one's own inner demons. And that's my own inner work. And that my own inner work did as much for my fellow man as for myself. Indeed, this was the front lines of the battle, deepening my own inner being to feed others. Perhaps, I thought, I was the one on the front lines while they were holding back from ultimate confrontation. Interesting perspective, huh? Later, I realized that one needn't judge who was better or worse. We simply have different parts to play in the drama. Okay. So I want to tell you my story, but I'm going to preface it with the Declaration of Independence. It's the most spiritual document. And I imagine for Americans, it's like, yeah, you know, that's part of our history. I don't know if you realize what a big deal it is to have a government of a country based on spiritual principles. That is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And for me, no accident that New Thought, our spiritual teaching, grew up in America, where the very foundation of the country's government was built on spiritual principles. Of course, that spiritual teaching is going to spread here because there's a consciousness that's ready and prepared for it. So the declaration, I was talking to a friend of mine at my job who's a history major, and I asked her to talk to me about the American Revolution. I did study it in school, but I couldn't remember the details. And she talked about the Declaration of Independence, and I naively, ignorantly said, well, did they ever present it to the British to sign it? And she said, no, it was a declaration. They didn't care whether the British agreed with it or not. They didn't care if the British endorsed it or not. It was a declaration. And I thought, wow, that's so powerful, that they declared it because it was true, and that was all that they needed to do. They didn't care and didn't need to get any kind of endorsement or approval for that. So I want to read just a short quote from the Declaration, which I love. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Do you know this by heart? You learned it in school, I'm sure. Yeah, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And now I want you to listen to a quote from Ernest Holmes and see if you can see the parallel. So Ernest Holmes, for our new members today, is the founder of the Science of Mind teaching. And he said in his book, the Science of Mind textbook, the divine plan is one of freedom. The inherent nature of all humans is ever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom, because freedom is the birthright of every living soul. No accident that, as I said, New Thought grew up in America. And now I want to tell you my story about my relationship with America and the spirit of freedom. So as you know, I grew up in England, and some of you know that I'm from South Africa. I didn't emigrate to South Africa until I was 27, so most of my education was in the UK. And I had a passion from early on for America, and I believed it was the country where I would find my freedom. And I used to read historical fiction about the early settlers and totally identified with them. And then when I was about 13, my history teacher taught us about the American Revolution. And she presented the story in such a way that she was very unbiased in the way she presented the story. But for our homework, she said, I want you to do one thing, and I'm going to give you two options. So one option is I want you to write a letter from the American colonists to King George, explaining why King George should not be in control and why you should not have to pay taxes. The other option is you can be King George and you can write a letter to the American colonists and explain to them why they have to stay part of Britain. Well, what do you think I chose? There was no option for me. It was obviously that I was an American settler writing to King George and telling him where to go. It was such an obvious choice for me. I never even considered that King George had any right to keep the Americans subjugated. And then I had a godmother who married an American, and she moved to Golden in Colorado, and she asked me to come and visit. So when I was 16, I was planning to go visit her. That was the first time as a 16-year-old that I could fly alone to America. And then everything crashed, and she came back to England. It didn't work, so I couldn't go at 16. But at 19, I got a job with Camp America. In Camp America, we were in the Adirondacks in New York, upstate New York, and I was teaching tennis on a summer camp for Jewish girls from New York. And why is that funny? Anyway, so Jewish girls from New York and from broken homes, they were precocious. I'd even go so far as to say they were pretty obnoxious. And I was completely out of my depth. I think you say I was in over my head. I didn't know, I was so culture shocked. I'd been to a single-sex girls' school, and I thought in America that it would be like a girls' school, because it was a girls' camp, like a single-sex girls' school, but with an American accent. I didn't realize how different it would be. I didn't realize how, let's say, mature these girls were. They were already very awake to the world, and some of them were already smoking dope, some of them were already going quite a long way with the boys in the camp across the lake. And so I was really in shock. And I was academically advanced, but socially inept. I couldn't connect with the American people. And in my hypnotic state of feeling completely off-center and lonely and not in charge of my reality at all, I ate and I ate and I ate. That was me being hypnotized, that I was putting food in my mouth to try and give myself a sense of comfort. I put on about 20 pounds in 6 weeks. But I got to Golden, Colorado, and I got to see my godmother, which was my dream, and I loved it. And then I came back to England, and I thought, yeah, but how come I'm not free? I've been in America now for about 9 weeks. I should be free by now. I should feel really different. Yeah, I know, it's funny, isn't it? When I look back, you know, I didn't realize that I can't get free with something outside of myself. I took my head with me to America all that way across the ocean, and I took my head with me all the way back to England. So that's where you and I live. We live there in our heads, not necessarily in the spiritual truth of our beings. So the next time I came to America, I was studying for the ministry. I went to South Africa in 1985 to go and see my mother. And I found the Science of Mind teaching within the first couple of weeks, and I decided this was it. I'd found my freedom. I was going to study the science of mind. This was going to be it. This was going to be the thing that was going to fix me forever. So I ripped up my ticket back to Europe, and I stayed in South Africa. And on the first night of class, the minister was talking about her experience training to be a minister at the San Jose School of Ministerial Studies. And I thought, oh, yeah, I want that, I want that. I just knew this was what I wanted in my life. But at the time, I was very hypnotized. I was drinking. I'm a recovering alcoholic, so I was drinking, and I was definitely living a life that was anything other than spiritual. I'll leave you to make it up, whatever you think about that. So after a while, I got a vision for a multiracial ministry in South Africa. So when I was in South Africa, it was under apartheid. So the blacks and whites were kept separated. And I thought, this is crazy. We talk about one power in our teaching, but we have two races that are kept separate in their religious beliefs and practices. So I wanted a ministry for all beings, for all colors of skin. And I came to America in 1989 to study for the ministry. And here I was, not only am I in America, but now I'm studying for the ministry. So now, for sure, I'm going to get free. Still didn't happen. And the green card offer that I had before I left South Africa, for when I got to America, that fell through. So here I am, I'm in America, I'm signed up to study for the ministry, no green card, what do I do? So I applied for many green cards during my 10 years here in America while I was studying. They were all turned down. So basically I was an illegal alien, but I kept things above board, I paid my taxes, I did the right thing. And when I got my call to return to South Africa and start the ministry, I thought, well, that's it now. I don't have status in America. I'll never get back in. I've got to go now knowing that I'll never come back. And it was really sad for me. I had so many friends here and a life that I loved here. It was in LA at the time. But my calling was strong. I knew I had to do that, and I went back to South Africa. And for 5 years, I started the ministry and I ran it, and it was really, really successful. So it's still going strong today, which is lovely. So blacks and whites, colors, all colors of human being, and all worshiping under one roof in a new thought center. So it's beautiful. Anyway, I burned out, went back to Europe, and got trained as an English language teacher for foreigners. And this is the very cool thing that happened. I was asked to do marketing, so I would travel around to schools in Europe. So I would go on marketing trips and maybe go to 5 schools every morning. And in the schools, I would do demonstrations of a fun English language program. So my company would send native British speaker teachers over to Europe to teach the kids for 1 week in the schools and help them with fluency and confidence. So I would market that. I'd sell that course to the students and make them see that English language is fun. So what did I do? In the beginning of the demonstration that I would do, I would say to the children, you can do this with me, put your left hand on your heart, put your right hand on the air, right hand in the air, and please repeat after me. You don't have to repeat this bit. Stephanie, I promise. Stephanie, I promise. I will only speak English in your lesson. But if I speak German by mistake, I will sing a Britney Spears song. It goes like this. Oops, I did it again. I spoke German in class. I'll never do it again. So if they spoke German in class after that, they had to stand up and face the humiliation of singing that song in front of everybody. So it was a great deterrent. I did this thousands of times in the 10 years that I was marketing English language in Europe. Every day, at least 5 or 10 times, over a period of over 10 years. Can you imagine? I was doing that body language of the salute to the American flag and thinking at the time, I'll never get back into America. So I had, when I lived in South Africa, so I was in Europe till 2015, and then I moved back to South Africa to take care of my mum and to also be a part of my church that I had founded in South Africa. And I had an American life coach. And he said to me, Steph, I really think you belong in America. And he said, I think you should try to get back there somehow. And I said, no, I'll never get in. They don't want me. I broke the law. You know, I'm a reject. And he said, well, you'll never know unless you apply for a visa. That never occurred to me. Apply for a visa. What a great idea. So, and then I went into absolute terror because I thought, what if I submit my visa application and the American government says, no, we don't want you, we never want you back, you are persona non grata, go away, don't bother to apply. That was my fear that I made up in my head. And so I asked my coach to hold my hand while I filled out the application. So we were on Skype, and he held my hand, I filled out the application, I sent it off, it got turned down. Because I believed it would, right? I believed it would. I didn't believe that they would really let me in again. And, but the immigration consultant in Johannesburg said, I'm going to let this go for further review. And when you get back, I was about to go to Egypt with Reverend Michael Beckwith. She said, when you get back from your trip, you can send in your paperwork again and it can be reviewed again by another board. So that was great. There was a loophole. And then I went to, shortly after that green card was turned down, I went to Egypt, and there I met Jim Hatton, who is my husband. Most of you know him. And met Jim Hatton in the Great Pyramid in Egypt. And on the last day, Reverend Michael and I asked Reverend Michael Beckwith to pray for me to get my American visa. So I approached him in a little shop just outside the Great Pyramid, and I said, will you pray for me? And he said, sure. So he went silent, and then his eyes rolled up to heaven. I could see the whites of his eyes. And then he came down back to earth, and he said, it's done. And then he said, maybe you should get married. He didn't know that Jim and I had connected during that trip in Egypt. He didn't know that eventually Jim and I would be married, but that was his divine inspiration. So I'm going to fast forward because I know it's time to end my talk, but I came to America for the first time. Oh, sorry, I should tell you that 2 weeks after Reverend Michael prayed for me, I got my visa. So the board reviewed it, everything was good. I got a 10-year multiple entry visa for America, and I nearly fainted. I nearly fainted in the room where I went to pick it up, and the girl behind the desk said, I feel weak at the knee. She said, please don't faint because I don't want to pick you up off the floor. So then I came to America for the first time again in August of 2019. And then we had COVID. So some of you know, Jim and I were going to get married in South Africa, but then I decided when his flight was canceled to South Africa for our wedding, I said, okay, I'm going to come to America before I can no longer travel from South Africa to America. So I got here, last flight from Johannesburg, the day before COVID lockdown. Yeah, amazing orchestration. And then we got married in April of 2021, and August 2021, we sent in my green card application. So it's a spousal green card because I'm married to Jim. And I was told we have to wait 2 years. So August 2021, I figured August 2023, I might hear something. But that happened really fast. In April 2022, I got a letter saying, please appear at the US Immigration Office in Portland on the 25th of May for your green card interview. It was 9 months later. It wasn't even anything close to 2 years. So this was it. This was my moment. And on the night before the green card interview, Jim and I were in the hotel in Portland, and I started to pray. And I said, you know what? The truth is, I'm free. They might not give me the green card. They might discover something in my past that's unacceptable. It might not happen, but I'm free no matter what. I got in touch with my spiritual freedom. And then the next day, we went for the interview. It was very easy, very fun. At the end of the interview, the immigration officer said, well, as far as I'm concerned, you have your green card and you'll get it in the mail in a week's time. Whoa, can I have a clap, please? So from 1989, when I began this process, to 2022, when I got the green card, that's a long time. But the prayers were in motion from 1989. So friends, if things are not manifesting for you at the speed you would like, consider that, 1989. to 2022. It's a long time, but it came about in the end. It's all part of the divine unfolding. All right, so thank you for listening to my story. And so I'm just going to summarize what we've talked about today. So point number 1, first be aware that you're in a hypnotized state. That's the only way you're going to be able to do anything about it. You've got to be aware. Then step 2, remember one power. There's only one power. So no division, no enemies, no others, no otherness, no power outside of myself, no power outside of yourself. And the last thing, you declare the truth to yourself, to others, and the universe makes it so. Thank you very much.
How powerful that was. You know, this is... Oh, yes, of course.
I thought I was done. Can you bear my English accent a little bit longer while I pray? All right, let's pray. So just turning aside now from the outer world, turning aside from everything that's been unfolding in and through consciousness while we've been here this morning, anything that we've been worrying about, thinking about, what's going to happen when we leave this space today, anything that we brought with us, any baggage we brought into the room, things that we can't control outside of this space. We're leaving it all behind and putting our attention upon the Spirit, the one power, the Spirit of truth, the Spirit of freedom, the Spirit of love, the Spirit of wholeness, that which is undefeatable, that which knows nothing other than itself, knows no otherness, knows no opposites. That power, that presence that can never be hurt, harmed, or endangered. That power, that presence that is pure love everywhere present. Pure love, pure freedom, individualized as me. Pure love, pure freedom, individualized as everybody here. And we are gathered here by divine appointment. We are a perfect configuration for the Spirit to have its way here this morning. So the Spirit of freedom is announcing itself in, through, and as each one of us here. And I speak my word for this beloved community, knowing that each sacred soul in this sanctuary is a beloved messenger of God, a beloved place, a space where the Spirit reveals its holy face, where the divine moves into glorious action in the world, where truth is announced, truth is made known, where spiritual power is unleashed. Each one here is the space where miracles happen, where wonders emerge and unfold. Each one here is the chosen one, the one who is chosen to be the representative, the representation of love on earth, heaven on earth. So I'm declaring where there is any appearance of shortage or lack or deficit, we say no to that. It's a hypnotism. It's not real. And I'm declaring each one here is an abundant, alive, vital, prosperous, and affluent soul. Each one here is heir to all of the riches of the finished kingdom. Each one here is divinely and eternally and inexhaustibly supplied with everything necessary to meet all needs. Where there is any appearance of discord or conflict in relationship, I'm knowing that each one here is a beautiful vessel for harmony to be voiced, for love to be expressed, for forgiveness to be made known, for truth to be spoken. So each one here is the very living image of harmony, and harmony surrounds each one in all of their relationships and in all of their affairs. There is nothing here that can in any way counteract this truth of harmony that is the spiritual truth of each individual here. And where there is any appearance of pain or physical distress or disease or sickness, ill health, knowing that each one is the very living vehicle of wholeness, the divine body temple of perfection. Each one here is another way that life shows up in all of its fullness. I declare right now that every single cell molecule, atom, fascia, tissue, muscle, fiber is healed and whole, healed and whole, healed and whole. No such thing as sickness in the mind of God. No such thing as death in the mind of God. Wholeness reigns supreme here and now. And I bless this community as a whole and know that we are moving forward in glorious expansion and aliveness and contribution to the world that works for everybody. How grateful I am that this word has gone forth as law, that it is already done as it has been spoken. And so I simply release it and I allow it to be, and I say, and say with me, and so it is. Thank you.
So we know that this week is 4th of July week, yes? Yes, yes. How many do we have any veterans in the house? Oh, wow, you got lots of veterans. So this song is very special, and for those of you that are not a veteran, it's for you too. It's for all of us. So I'm going to just sing it for us. Oh, beautiful, oh, spacious skies, for amber waves of green, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful, all for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country love and mercy more than life. Oh, America, America, may God thy gold refine, till all success be nobleness and every gain divine. Oh, America, oh, spacious skies, for amber grains of rain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. Oh, America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned that good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, from sea to shining sea. Oh, from sea to shining sea.
Oh, thank you, Reverend Andy. That was wonderful. He's been practicing that all week in the house. And now it's time for us to share our tithes and offerings. So we're so deeply grateful for your financial support. The way you give to this community goes out and blesses everyone, and we are so grateful, and we use your tithes responsibly. We ask the ushers to come forward and invite you to all repeat our affirmation. We'll wait till they come forward. Graciously, I give from a place of love.
Graciously I give from a place of love.
Knowing that as I give, so do I richly receive.
So do I richly receive.
And so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So we are so blessed. I have some announcements to read to you. Unity's prayer circle is 10:30 Tuesday, and Tai Chi is at 11:30. Sign up in the social hall as a volunteer for a one-day build in Ashland for the wonderful Habitat for Humanity All Faith Project. Indicate your interest only now. We don't have a date yet, but if you're interested in the possibility of this, please sign up in the social hall. You can sign up for our weekly e-newsletter here in Bosworth Hall, or send an email to the cslroguevalley@gmail.com. And in the back, we have a prayer request in our prayer box at the back of the sanctuary. So don't leave with a heavy heart. You can put your prayer in the back in the prayer box, or with the practitioners and ministers, please come and stand in forward. We also have practitioners who are available to give you a short 5-minute magic moment of prayer if you're like. So if you would come and stand up now. And we invite you to stay for coffee and soup in Bosworth Hall right after the service. And so we will have our closing song, and then please avail yourselves of these practitioners and ministers if you have need of prayer. Andy.
Let's all stand. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. Oh, you are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. And you shine, you shine, you shine so bright. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. For the world, we shine. We are a light, we are a light, we shine, we shine, we shine, we shine, we shine, we shine, we shine.